Welcome to Falls Count Anywhere, where the wrestling ring meets the heart. Hosted by the gentleman Jody Powell, join us as we dive into the latest pro wrestling news and rumors, from the electrifying world of WWE to the inspiring stories of wrestling for Christ. This is your all-access pass to the action, the faith, and the hope. This is Falls Count Anywhere.
Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Falls Count Anywhere. I'm your host, the gentleman Jody Powell, and with me, as always, is the mad scientist, deep in a well-lit, well-funded laboratory, my man. It's back. How you feeling, buddy?
I am feeling relieved. You know, the lights don't pay for themselves, and
no, they don't.
They can't issue patents for my ingenious devices if the flipping government's closed. So.
Well, I'm glad that you got your funding back for the Buchanan laboratory. So with all of that funding coming your way, Mikey, what's brewing, man? What's cooking down there?
Well, you know, I see all these different combination drinks. You know, you've got your Arnold Palmer. Mm-hmm. You know, you've got all these mocktails, which I don't drink, but I know they're out there. So I thought, what if, I know that the seasonal change is bad. Nobody likes it. They want it to be summer when it's winter, or like me, strangely enough, after 30 years, they want it to be winter when it's summer. But I do live in Arizona, so I have that in my favor. But be that as it may, what if there's a drink that could offer you the taste of both worlds? Vitamin D, hot chocolate, marshmallows optional. The vitamin D reminds you of the summer. The hot chocolate reminds you that it might be thinking about summer, but it's still 13 below zero outside.
I mean, I don't know that there could be any more of a bipolar drink. You put a little umbrella in the marshmallow and let it float around the top.
There you go.
I'm down for that. I do not like to be reminded that winter is coming. And I've been reminded of that this week because, you know, here in the sunny South, it was a cold snap for a couple of days. And then this weekend's going to be like 78 degrees, which I love the warmth. But yeah, I like it.
Speaking of things you don't like to be reminded of, WWE, I hear, is rolling out Lethal Lottery this year, 2025.
Oh, the Battle Ball. Let's just pick random people and throw them together in war games, as Regal likes to say. I mean, yes. So let's talk WWE and the good, bad, and the ugly of what happened last week on Monday Night Raw. And you know, I give WWE, we give WWE a really a hard time because of things that are going on. It's easy to be critical and to be thinking of things that you would have done differently or you wanted to see differently. But that's part of the gig. That's what we do. I'm going to give WWE some credit here, and I don't think you're going to agree with me, Mike, because I just know you. But
that's why we're a team.
That's right. You know, last week we saw from Boston, Mass. We saw John Cena in his final time in Boston, and I think he's going to be again in Madison Square Garden tonight. So we'll be interested to see what that's going to be like. But last Monday night was in Boston for the last time, and was interrupted by your favorite family of professional wrestling. This time it was Dirty Dominic Mysterio, interrupting John Cena. Now, Mike, I'm going to say this, okay? I honestly believe that Dominic Mysterio was made last Monday night. Now, think about it. Now, you know how I feel about Cena. I think we agree to disagree with Triple Paul. Cena's not the GOAT. Okay, he's on the list. He's in the discussion. I don't think he's the best there ever was or anything like that. But he's there. He's in the discussion. So we can't deny that this was a big moment. This was a huge moment in the history of professional wrestling. John Cena.
In the history? Okay, Tony Schiavone.
I mean, I'm going to Schiavone it a little bit. I mean, this is a historical moment. Cena in the Garden, hometown, right before retirement. People are going to remember this. They're going to think about it. They're going to talk about this. And they put Dominic Mysterio in this moment. It's a big moment, Mike. And Dominic Mysterio came out, and I think he stole the show. The moment was not too big for him. He didn't break character. He was not overwhelmed by the enormity of this historical moment. And he knew he was coming out to drop the IC title. And he came out with the same snotty arrogance that Dirty Dom is known for. And I personally think that Dominic Mysterio walked away the absolute winner of that segment, even though he lost to Super Cena, who blew up his finishing move, the frog splash. You know how much I love finishing moves getting blown up. It's ridiculous, even for Super Cena. But despite the fact that Dominic dropped the title to John Cena to give him the grandson, I think Dominic Mysterio walked away the winner of Monday Night Raw.
I have a surprise for you. I didn't even think about this in pre-show.
Okay.
Who's the loser in all this?
I think the loser, if there is a loser in all of this, it would have to be the Judgment Day.
No.
Okay, who you got?
So with Eddie Mysterio now trying to wrestle for an IC belt against John Cena, Rory Mosquito Sr. is the loser because he was just supposed to be written into I'm the best luchador, blah, 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 in the history, blah, 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 blah. Now what's the Mosquito going to do since Guerrero's off on doing something else?
Well,
Rory Mosquito lost.
Well, that could be possible, but I still think I think it actually sets up for a better scenario for the father-son 4, however many times they're going to face off, because we're going to get that at Survivor Series. We're going to get Dom and Ray one more time, but the fact that Dominic is not the Intercontinental Champion gives the feeling that, hey, maybe Ray could knock off Dominic, and maybe it's going to be for that AAA Cirque du Soleil title.
Cirque du Soleil, that's about right.
I personally like the flipperoos and the high flyers. You're a ground and pound kind of guy. Get it? I happen to like the luchadors.
Let me kind of combine a Hulk and Hawk match. Flying lip, puny luchadors, flipper floppers.
Man, I respect what they do. It may not be quite the style that we like to see, or I like to see, or you like to see, but I respect what they do. You mentioned Eddie Mysterio. That's hilarious. That is great. And man, he looks like Eddie Guerrero more and more every day. So there's a lot of questions that need to be asked around that. But anyway, I do think Dominic Mysterio walked away the absolute winner of Raw there. I don't know, maybe Ray lost in that. I think who lost was the Judgment Day, because that project is coming to an end, and it needs to. It really needs to. There needs to be a split of that faction. Finn Balor needs to be a breakout star again. JD McDonough has the capability of becoming, a upper mid card guy. Roxanne and the Amazon there, they need a feud with Liv Morgan when she returns. And then Dominic needs to break away from Judgment Day for a variety of reasons. I think mostly because I believe his trajectory is nothing but up. and I think he's earned it. I think he's deserving of that. Now, a lot of people are saying that Dominic needs to come back to be the winner of the tournament and face John Cena in the final match, and I don't believe that to be the case at all. I don't.
Absolutely not.
First of all, I think it's too early. I think it's ridiculous to even try to predict who's going to be the winner of the tournament. We don't even know who all's in it. We don't know who's in it. We don't know every name that's in it. So why are we predicting it? But, Mike, if I'm predicting, and I'm going to go against what I just said, if I'm going to predict something, here's what I think should happen. The winner of that tournament needs to be The Miz. Now, hear me out. Everyone's like, no, not The Miz. We hate The Miz. Who has been bragging and built their career on beating John Cena at WrestleMania? Who has been bragging about the number of times they've been Intercontinental Champion? Who's been saying that they are the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time? It's all The Miz. And how do you close that book? How do you wrap that? How do you really propel or bring The Miz into prominence? You allow him this one final thing, this nail in the career of John Cena, and building upon that for The Miz. Now they're going to need to push The Miz after they do that. They've never been good about that. If it were me, I would consider putting The Miz into the finals and having a Miz Cena final match where The Miz becomes the Intercontinental Champion. That's just my thought.
Well, I'm with you on the fact that Cena should lose his final match.
I think it's a given. Should be. Well, it should be.
Yes. But, that was back whenever Triple Paul was doing things instead of this yo-yo behind the scenes, charging $1 million for a bag of popcorn at his events. But, no, I mean, for this one, I think it's going to be one of the surprise entrants. I know we're going to have one for LA Knight, which sucks because that means LA Knight's going to get utterly squashed again. And I feel there'll be I feel there'll be at least one more surprise entrant, Jody.
Yeah. And
to me, I don't see why you bring a surprise entrant. Jericho, Edge, Ric Flair.
Let's not, please. No, Nature Boy, I love you. Don't come back.
But you don't bring one of those people in as a surprise and not have them face Cena.
Possibly. Now, I don't think we'll see Edge or Jericho in the tournament. I think those surprise returns are going to be now possibly Edge, maybe Edge, but not Jericho. I think Jericho is being saved for the Royal Rumble. There's still some questions of whether Jericho actually still is under a no compete, or even still part of an AEW contract. So I don't think it's going to be Jericho. Could be Joe Hendry. Could have Joe Hendry sighting. Could have a Dolph Ziggler. Of course, both part of TNA, which has this open door with WWE now. Could be a Hardy. I know you'd love that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think what you're going to see, and I've seen a lot of people say it needs to be Sheamus. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. There's more history there with The Miz than there is Sheamus. Now, people just don't like The Miz. And Mike, I know we're running short on time in this segment, but I want to extend it just a little bit, and we'll make it up somewhere else. But because I do want to talk about War Games. I want to talk about the fact that we've got all of these people thrown into these random matches. Because honestly, what in the world is Cody Rhodes doing on the same team as CM Punk? You're going to put both of your world champions in the same match on the same team in War Games. Let's just pick people out of the hallway and say, oh, by the way, go. You're in War Games. Surprise. Jey Uso, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes. Cody isn't even part of Raw. When he went over to SmackDown, he said he was going to focus on SmackDown. Now, here he is on fighting a Raw battle. It doesn't make any sense. Absolutely no sense whatsoever. Logan Paul being part of the Vision, whether he is or whether he isn't, doesn't really add up. Why is that not someone like an Austin Theory who could actually take that and run with it? I'm still on the fence about Logan Paul in terms of being a wrestler. I'm not truly, honestly sure that he is committed to being a wrestler. If he committed 100% and truly put time and effort, I think Logan Paul could be good. But he's got to, he can't just play the Roman Reigns part-time wrestler. You haven't earned that, and I hate that anyway. So that's a joke. And then let's go over to the women's side of War Games. I mean, for the bad part of Raw, the ugly part of Raw, we got eyelash legend.
Yep.
Teaming up with Nia Jax. What? Let's just throw two random people together, and then this loss of the World Tag Team titles by Charlotte and Alexa to the Gaduki Warriors. Are you kidding me? Was that really even necessary to set up War Games? I don't think it was at all. And you're telling me that Nia Jax and Eyelash Legend are teaming up with the new tag team champions? They want to be tag team champions, but we're going to put that aside because we want to be in War Games. No, it doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. It's lazy booking, and it makes it, it just, I don't know. It just drives me insane. There's no story behind it.
Well, let's hope the next segment doesn't drive you quite that insane, Jody.
Well, no, the next segment will not, and we'll move on from here in my frustrations with the WWE because we've got to take a break. Coming up next, we're going to talk some Ephesians Pro Wrestling, what happened on Saturday Night Battleground, right after these messages. Welcome back, fans, to Falls Count Anywhere, and let's talk a little bit about EPW Saturday Night Battleground, which we saw this past Saturday night, and boy, I tell you, it started off hot with a triple threat match. We saw the introduction of Cowboy Cliff Rogers, who was part of this triple threat match, of course, taking on Graham Wesson of Smith & Wesson, another cowboy, so to speak, although it was Cowboy Cliff Rogers who was calling him out, calling him a fake cowboy. Told him he got his cowboy outfit off of Spirit.com or HalloweenSpirit.com, Mike. So a little bit of bad blood there. And Omega was the third part of this triple threat, but of course, the Cowboy Cliff Rogers was able to pick up the victory, kind of stole it, honestly, from Graham Wesson, who hit a cutter right there at the end. But it was the Cowboy that tossed him out of the ring and pinned Omega after Wesson hit his finisher. And then we saw the hero of the people, Aaron Eagle, come out and to rescue Omega again. We've seen this several times now. And, it looks like Eagle has a purpose for coming out and rescuing Omega. Turns out he bought his contract because he's done everything in EPW except contend for the tag team titles. And he doesn't understand why he needs a tag team partner. He does things on his own. So he bought his contract, and I guess Omega is going to be along for the ride as the hero of the people go for the tag team titles. Well, all of that brought out the Warhawk Kurt Castle, who's the EPW Texas champion, who came out to face Aaron Eagle in a non-title match. And through a lot of shenanigans at the end of that match, we saw the champ Kurt Castle go over on Aaron Eagle. And then, Mike, the main event for the EPW title, a guy that I'm coming to really like, it's the Ultra Ego, Brixton Shaw, the EPW champion, taking on Langley, who's actually been in a feud and has been chasing that Texas championship with the Warhawk Kurt Castle. But in this match, Langley getting a shot at the EPW championship, but it was the champ. It was Brixton Shaw hitting my new favorite name for a finisher, Brixton Shaw's Shawshank. He hit the Shawshank, Mike. It's a good movie too, by the way.
Yes, it is.
But he hit the Shawshank. Down goes Langley, and it was only after a distraction, though, from the Texas champ, Kurt Castle. And so we'll have to see what Langley has in store for the Warhawk Kurt Castle as he continues to chase that Texas championship. We also saw a segment at the very end with the tag champs, the Heartbreak Outlaws, And, it was Ryan Hart who was telling HBO how proud he was that he hit Dewey Declan with the chair. Well, we all know HBO didn't mean to. Enter Dewey Declan, who had a few choice words, not only for Ryan Hart, but for HBO, wanting to understand what exactly happened there. And as EPW Battleground faded, it was a conflicted HBO. So we'll see what happens this coming Saturday on EPW Battleground, Saturday night, right here on Abundant TV at 6 p.m. Speaking of Abundant TV, Mike, a blockbuster breaking news announcement was made today by yours truly on social media. December 5th, Friday night, December 5th, Abundant TV is going to air Community Championship Wrestling Holiday Clash. This is a wonderful organization. They have a few shows a year, and it's usually for the betterment of the community. And in this case, it's for the Southeastern Children's Home. We're going to have exclusive rights to broadcast CCW right here on Abundant. It's coming up on December 5th. Yours truly will be on the call. We're going to have some great matches. We're going to raise some money for the Southeastern Children's Home. It's going to be a fantastic time. More to come on CCW being a part of Abundant TV and this great holiday clash event that's coming up. We're going to have a lot more information right here on Falls Count Anywhere as well as on Abundant TV. Well, Mikey, you know what time it is. It's time for our favorite part of Falls Count Anywhere. Right after the break, fans, come on back for Finding Tomorrow. Stay tuned. The holidays are coming. What a great gift idea. Feeling down, look up by my good buddy, the mad scientist, Mike Buchanan. Go to Amazon, search for it, buy it today.
All right. Welcome back, viewers, to your favorite and ours, the segment about Finding Tomorrow. And Jody, we've spent the WWE portion talking about war games. Mm-hmm. But there's something in Judges that I'd like to bring to people's attention. It's kind of a reminder of how a fight might seem overwhelming unless God's putting you in the fight. In Judges 6, we read about a young man named Gideon. And the Amalekites and the Midianites had taken over Israel because, like that pattern was back in the day, Israel had forgotten what God did for him yesterday. So the Amalekites and the Midianites come in, and we find our hero, Gideon, hiding. Because he's scared, because you don't have any weapons. And an angel comes to him and he says, "Oh, mighty man of valor." And he looks around like, who are you talking about?
A little sarcasm there from the angel.
Oh, yeah. But it could be sarcasm, but it could also be an encouragement. Yeah. I know how you see yourself, but this is how God sees you.
Yep.
And God uses Gideon, they're outmanned severely. They're outweaponed by even worse. But there's, I want to say, in excess of 100,000 people between the armies. And God says, I will tell you how to win. So first they hit 10,000. And God says, nope, that's too many. Now, me, 10 on 1, that's bad odds. But God steps in and says there's too many. And then he says, send all the cowards home. Loose paraphrase, but that's what he said.
Yeah.
And that left him down to a couple of thousand. And then God says, still too many. So eventually, Jody, and for our listeners, the Lord took Gideon and 300 men and routed the Amalekites and the Midianites. Mm-hmm. So if you're watching this and you're looking for tomorrow and you're like, Mike, Jody, the Lord's called me to do something, but there's no way I can do it. Spoiler alert, you're right. You're 100% right. You can't do it. All this nonsense about God will never put anything before you. You've heard me and Jody talk about this quite a bit, that you can't handle is nonsense because you're not intended to handle it.
Right.
You're intended to handle it at the very least with God himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because we're humans and we need communion, with your brother and sister, just like in war games.
Yeah. Yeah, very true, Mike. And I love to the story with Gideon that that he was found hiding, and he was found kind of coward. Isn't that kind of the way with a lot of our heroes that we find in the Bible? I mean, there so many times you find individuals. Jonah's another great example. Jonah, go to Nineveh. And Jonah's like, I'm going to go the opposite way of Nineveh. I don't have anything to do with that. But God in his all-knowing power, God didn't need Jonah. God didn't need Gideon. Nope. God can accomplish what God needs to accomplish with whomever and however he wants. But God loved Jonah. God loved Gideon. And God wanted to bring them to a point of redemption. And I think that's what happened here. And God's showing Gideon in something that I think we can take away from this, and that is there is nothing that God can't handle. There are tons of things that I can't handle. There are a lot of things that are put on me that I am completely inadequate in handling, but God can handle it. And so that's that lesson of allowing ourselves to be overwhelmed by things of this world. And it's so easy to say and so hard to do, Mike. And I think in finding tomorrow, when we're searching for tomorrow, a lot of times what we're searching for are answers to our issues, answers to our problems, answers to things that seem insurmountable. Well, 300 men battling all of these Midianites and stalagmites and stalaglites and all of these other groups of individuals. Those rocks in those caves are scary, man. But at the end of the day, God said, you know what? I can accomplish so much with so little. No. And gave them the exact battle plan to do that. And I think, Mike, what's interesting to me is kind of how Gideon's story ended. Yeah. And it's a lesson for us because Gideon went on to be a great leader. And, the Israelites came out of captivity once again, only to do what, buddy?
Fall into idolatry.
Fell into idolatry.
Absolutely. Led by Gideon.
Gideon himself created this religious relic of it's an idol. It's what it is. And people started worshiping it. And boy, how easily you forget the things that God does for you. The first shiny thing that comes along. And I'm sorry, people will say, well, boy, those stupid Israelites. Listen, we do it too. We do it too. We so easily forget the blessings that God gives us in a day. And we turn around and what do we start doing? We start worrying about tomorrow. And Jesus tells us, stop worrying about tomorrow. I provide for the birds of the air. You don't think I'm going to provide for you? And it's so easy. So quickly we forget that. And we see that at the end of this story as well, with Gideon and the Israelites turning away from God and worshiping an idol, the very God who delivered them. Boy, this sounds like a repeat of another story I've heard.
Yeah,
a guy named Moses.
Yeah. Samson, yes.
It really is a tragic tale of redemption and hubris coming before the fall. And it happens throughout the Bible. It happens throughout my daily life. And I know it happens throughout yours. But here's the great news, Mike, that no matter how many times we fall, and as we say, those falls count, God is always there to pick us up and lift us out of the miry clay and set our feet upon the rock.
After all that, in Hebrews 11:33 and 34, Gideon is included in that hall of faith that we call it. And you can be too, no matter what you've done wrong. Just ask God for forgiveness and to help him set you on the right path.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And speaking of the right path right now is for you to stay tuned, because coming up after Falls Count Anywhere, it's the Clash with Jeff Dixon, Chris Whaley, right here on Abundant TV.
A happy belated birthday to my beautiful wife, Darlene Buchanan.